Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dana and I'm so happy you're here. I'm finally sitting down to film what is going to be probably the first in a 3 video series. There we go. So I am going to be doing some swatches of tinted mineral sunscreens. And the reason that I'm doing that is because it's so hard, and I have so many, but it's even hard for me to remember, okay, like this one is good for dry skin, this one's good for oily skin, whatever. But then actually like the tone, the undertone, the tint to it, is it gonna work for my skin if I have very fair skin? Is it gonna work if I have more olive skin? And I struggle with that every day because I have so many and I'm like, oh my gosh, which one is gonna work today? Because my skin tone, you know, and my body can be different most days. But I figured that this would be helpful, and I do have so many, but I always have to preface these kinds of videos saying, I have lots of them, I don't have all of them. So if you're wondering like, where is this one? Well, I don't have it, but I do have a lot. So today I'm gonna be swatching 9 different sunscreens, and I'm gonna be doing them on my arm. I think that kind of helps because I'll do it on the underside of my arm, which is of course like a little bit more pale, but then you can also kind of see the tanner side of my body because it is the end of, well, it's fall, but my body is still quite tan from the summer. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. Today I'm gonna be starting with sunscreens that are gonna be best for drier skin, and then I'll do one for normal skin and then one for more oily skin. And what I have today is a selection of really like sunscreen first. I have lots of tinted like skin tints or foundations with SPF, and I've done other videos like a light coverage one of those types of products, and I'm gonna also do more high coverage one. I just haven't finished editing it, but I do try to separate them because I think some things really perform more like a foundation or a skin tint, whereas others are really meant to be used as a sunscreen, and you can. That said, you may not agree with me, but I try to put videos out on all of them. It's just really hard to get everything in one video because the number is so vast that, you know, we gotta dwindle it down just a bit. So without further ado, I am going to move you guys over. We're gonna be looking at my arm today, and I'm gonna be swatching and telling you kind of the undertones and if they're better for like your really dry skin days or what. So if you are excited for this video, if you enjoy it while you're watching, give it a big ol' like, subscribe, and we'll get into it. Alright guys, we have our 9 swatches on here, and I tried to get them before they dried too much, but I will start on the darker side. This is the Wonderscreen Tinted Mineral, and then we have DRMTLGY Physical SPF. Next up is the DRMTLGY SPF Primer, IRIS&ROMEO Weekend Skin. This is SUNTEGRITY Impeccable Skin. I have it in the shade, I think Buff, yeah. Then we have the Supergoop Daily Dose. That's the Bioretinol one. And then we have the COTS Flawless Complexion. And then we have the Bloom Effects Tulip Dew Sunscreen, and then the IS Clinical Eclipse SPF 50. So I will take a screenshot of this so you can save it if you need to, and I will put the names of each sunscreen. I will tell you there are a few that are thicker in consistency than the others, so let's talk about those. First up, we have the Wonderscreen. This is definitely more of a thick consistency. It's not going to be as runny. It's going to have a little bit more of like a makeup feel to it. We'll do a zoom in. It looks very dark on my skin right now, and this is in natural light. Another one that is quite thick is the DRMTLGY Physical Sunscreen. Not the thickest, but one of those thicker ones that I would say these two can both double as makeup and sunscreen for sure. Another one is the IRIS&ROMEO. This has one of the thicker consistencies as well. You can see for me, it pulls very yellow. It's not something I want to wear on my skin most days. Another one you can see is the SUNTEGRITY. This one's thicker, but it actually does kind of set down a little bit more. And this one is really one of those ones that doubles as makeup and sunscreen. It's one of the better shades for me as well. And then the 2 others that are thicker, if you are really dry, I would recommend the COTS one. This one is one of the thickest consistencies. So one of the things I do not like about the COTS sunscreen as much is you can see how much it's oxidized. It's on the like lighter end of the tones, but it has oxidized quite a bit and it kind of looks more orange on my skin. Then I would say if you are really pale but have very dry skin, that the last one, the IS Clinical, is probably going to be the best for you. It doesn't oxidize and it has a very, very thick consistency. Oops, just got one of the others in it. As far as our lighter consistencies, you can probably tell. I will point out that the Indie Lee, the Super Goop, and then the Bloom Effects are more like oils, and you can see that they've already started to soak into my skin. And if you're looking for one that I would say has like maybe the least noticeable tint, I would probably go with the Supergroup one. It really does blend in quite quickly and doesn't have a huge amount of pigment, especially for my tone. Woo, you guys, I got a quad workout. I had to like put my arm out and then kind of squat. And that and talking, I feel like if I had had my Apple Watch on, my heart rate would have spiked. Anyway, this has been, I don't know about you, it's been super helpful for me. I feel like now I can kind of organize my sunscreens for like, these I only use in the summertime, these I only use in the wintertime, and they just kind of work better for knowing what, you know, when my skin is tanner or when my skin is lighter. I think for me, if I'm gonna go with my favorites from this group, it's gonna be the ones, surprise, surprise, that are closer to my skin tone. So the Supergroup Daily Dose is just more invisible than the others. It is tinted, so it does cancel out any of the white cast, but it's just pretty close to being like not a tint. And then the Suntegrity Impeccable Skin, the reason that this one works for me, and this one really is makeup because it is thick, is because this shade does work for me. I have the shade Buff. They have, I think, maybe 4 to 6 shades, so not a lot. But if you can find one that works for you, it does kind of, I think, look pretty natural on your skin. And that said, it's pretty thick. I can't wear it in the summertime. It's not something I'm gonna be reaching for year round. Other ones that I do really, really love are the Bloom Effects Tulip Dew Vitamins and Mineral SPF 50. This one is pretty incredible. I think if you have drier skin, I would say that this is gonna work for more skin tones if you're using the correct amount than some of the others. Like the Dime one, the Wonderscreen, it's beautiful and I know people rave about it, but I think they're only using like a small amount. And if you really wanna get the full protection from it, you should be using a bit more. And when I do use the full 1/4 teaspoon, I look kind of like an Oompa Loompa. It's too dark for me. So I think this is gonna be one of the more kind of all-inclusive ones, along with the Supergroup one that I mentioned. So that's kind of it for me. I do wanna call out the Cott's Flawless Complexion one more time. I used to love this stuff, but I noticed that it really did oxidize, and as I showed you, it really kind of pulls very warm. So just be careful when you're wearing it because it's just like pretty noticeable. By the end of the day, I looked crazy the first time I wore it. But this one, if you have dry skin and you don't care, whew, this one is gonna be like one of the most moisturizing all day long. So I think those are the call outs that I wanted to mention, and I am gonna be filming the next one for normal skin and then for oily skin, and I hope you stay tuned. If you do like this, just please do give it a thumbs up. Comment below if you found it was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.